talked to one of your representatives from the marketing department who allowed us to use the widget. So we took some precautions before we even integrated this. And also, let me not forget about the two guys who are also working on it with me. So that's why I'm talking we. So there's a team behind this. It's not just me. Um, so we are really happy that we can use your APIs and your widgets and your graphs. They are crazy amazing, crazy good. So I love this cooperation. And so to walk you through, as a trader, I love just having this big graph in front of me to kind of see the landscape of how the market evolves over time. And I was thinking, how am I going to integrate the AI at first, right? So I was like, it would be really nice to have a floating window in here. So, I built this floating window, which is basically the whole AI stuck into this panel that you can just move around. And from here, I started building things up. So you've got several things that you can control here. Here is the ticker section, so you can see and go through different various assets. You've got forex, crypto, indexes, commodities, and obviously stocks. There's almost 100 of them. The reason why it's not enabled to every single asset in TradingView, for example, is that it will be massive for the servers we have right now. Like we plan to scale over time, and I think it will get into a point where probably we will cover the whole financial world basically. But it's really technically there's technical difficulties to achieve this level of
So that's super interesting. So right now, because of the amount of data needed to power this
exactly.
tool, you have sort of
Hmm.
a selective list that you've started with, and they're probably
True,
the most
true.
popular pairs or assets that you can
Yes,
think of.
yes, yes.
Gotcha.
Uh-huh. So it's when it started first, I just had the forex, because this is what I trade personally. It's my favorite one. So I had just those, major seven, and that was it. And then the other people who are in the team were into crypto, so they were like, let's integrate crypto. So and then when the first people started subscribing and using the tool, they were asking for stocks and indexes. So we expanded the list over time. And we allow people to let us know what they want to see next, and with each update we try to increase the number of assets we have in this thing. So you can go ahead and select one of the assets. So let's go to, for example, Japanese here. And when you select this, it actually talks to your TradingView API, prepares the graphs, and kind of it works together. I really like it. So
That's
it's
cool.
smooth.
Yeah, I saw that. You clicked, and then the TradingView chart just pops up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
So for all you
exactly.
developers watching, this is also a pretty cool use case. I have to.
Yeah, yeah. And so this is basically like you select one of the assets, and what starts to happen in the background is what you don't see is there's massive real-time acquisition of the data. So it's looking at 5-minute charts, 1 hour charts, 4 hour charts, daily charts. And it has some instructions what to do with the data, how to connect them together. There's also algorithms that I have built that are integrated into this. So it's not just raw data, there's raw data and there's also process data to kind of help the AI, better understand what's going on, in some, let's say, trend lines and so on. So, and this is happening, constantly on the server. The server is just crunching the data all the time. So it's ready for you when you ask for something. It's ready to deploy you the most real-time data and understanding on the markets. And so this is the basics. Then I wanted to also enable it to be able to talk to it basically. So you can just go ahead and type your question, like what do you think about the market right now, or you can just tap this button and also ask it, what do you think about the current situation in the market? And it's gonna process the sentence and kind of grab the data, and it will eventually provide us with some information. And you probably cannot hear it, but in my headphones now I can hear it talking back. That's visible on the streams, so I like to kind of
I've
let her
seen that in
also
your
talk.
live streams. Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you pick the
So,
voice? Was that a
well, actually, you can change the voice. There is settings, and if you
great?
go to settings, you can actually pick female, male, and a British version of female. And we are planning to expand this over time as well. So, and for this, for example, we are using Google's APIs. So this is all done by Google. So we're trying to use the modern stuff that's out there and the most reliable, basically. So yeah, and And that's not all of it. There's more. So there is this button, Ask Me and Help, which every time you ask a question, it actually understands the consequences of it, and it prepares five ongoing questions that you can actually ask. So that's for beginners or people who want to learn a little bit better in the markets. So as you can see, there's like, what are the key support and resistance levels for the Japanese? Are there any reversal patterns in the chart, and so on and so on. So it always prepares five questions for you to follow up if you kind of get lost and you want to get yourself a little bit better in the trading game. So that was one of the things that when the product was kind of done, I was like, that would be nice to have. And the last update that I released only a week ago, and I love it, is the signals mode. So basically now you have those buttons on those assets, and if you click on it, you can see it's going to turn green. And when it's green, the AI is, whenever there is some opportunity, so that's based on the algorithms inside the server, it's going to shoot you a message. And this is global. So everyone who has enabled, for example, euro dollar, everyone receives the same message when there is a potential, trade coming in. So it just shoots you the message. And then you can click on the message. So for example, now we get a Bitcoin here. It just arrived, like 30 seconds ago. And if you click on it, the AI kind of prepares a question that is valid for this scenario, and it tries to come up with a trading plan basically. So yeah,
How
it's sometimes it feels like magic.
how important are large language models in all of this? Because that's one interesting thing about AI that I think a lot of I would say, speak to the trading and investing community in this standpoint that they haven't fully
Hmm.
grasped yet. Tell us a little bit about that. Like what goes into that, and also even from your standpoint, making this tool for traders. How do you find language for traders, right? That sounds like a very
Yes,
rare
yes.
data set, actually.
True, true, true. Very good question. It's complicated. That was the hardest thing, I think, about the learning process. When we were, teaching the AI how to communicate. Um, we've got in the server, there is actually, the AI has different personas. So there is like different layers of the AI for the modes in here. So as you can see, we can kind of select if you want to analyze short-term scenarios, long terms, those signals, also economic news and educational talk. And for each of those modes, we have trained specifically like a person, basically. So that's exactly what you're talking about. So we had to kind of teach the AI how to talk in trading. It was hard. It was really hard.
Wow.
Like we
Oh, wow, that's fascinating. So you can do long-term analysis. So it's for like
Yes,
a
we can.
fundamental investor.
Exactly. So you can go long here, and you can go, for example, to, I love Tesla. It's my like favorite. We don't have it much here where I live in the Czech Republic. It's not that popular yet, but it's just amazing because it's AI again, right? They're
Right.
building this amazing AI, and you can then go ahead and just like ask, where do you think is gonna be the price in a month? You can basically ask anything, and the AI will try to give you the best answer they can provide. Of course, we had to put some precautions into the AI from the legal point of view. So
Mm-hmm.
we ran this with lawyers, and there's certain points that actually the law is not ready for the AI, which is also interesting topic. So we had to kind of work with stuff like, as you can see, as an AI assistant, I cannot provide future price or predictions or speculate. So kind of it lets people know that it's not a it's not a crystal ball basically. And so sometimes it gives you this answer, and you can try harder. You can then go ahead and be like, I really want to know the price in a month. And sometimes it gives you a little bit better answer, and sometimes it denies you. But so it depends on, and it also depends on data. It understands when sometimes it's when the markets are, for example, consolidating. It understands that, and it feels like it doesn't want you to give you this idea what to do, because it doesn't know either. It's like the market is flat, and the AI just doesn't know what to do. So it's like, sorry, Philip, I cannot give you any answers to that.
Which, by the way, is actually a good thing in a lot of cases because I feel like
True,
a good tactic to remember in markets is you don't always have to trade. Sometimes it's good to sort of sit on your hands and actually maybe
true,
wait
true.
for a more opportunistic setup. So I have to
Absolutely
ask
true.
as well in regards to this if I'm still a discretionary trader, right? I have my own
Uh-huh.
system, but it's all up here. I don't necessarily have coded out rules or anything of that sort.
I
I,
see
I
it.
like to think
Uh-huh.
I do okay for myself. I'm by no means the greatest of all time, not even close. Should someone like me be concerned that this is my future counterparty? What I mean is, every time I place a trade, now I should know that there's essentially these types of tools running somewhere out there. They could be on servers at a big hedge fund. They could be
Mm-hmm.
at a product like yours. They could be at maybe someone's running their own little model at their house. Should
Mm-hmm.
I be concerned that this is who I'm now trading against, or do you think we still have a chance, us discretionary human traders?
That's a really interesting one because I was pondering about that a lot, and I think, my idea what's gonna happen actually at the end of the day is that right now, let's think about markets as being traded by people, right? And it doesn't really matter if it's algorithms trading for us. The algorithms were built by people, so it's still, some, and there's basically some decision maker. If it's a bank or some huge institution, I do believe there are still people in charge who say go, stop, and so on. So now the markets are like, people against people basically. So it's, whenever you trade and you win, somebody's gonna lose, right? So because it's going to be a zero sum game at the end of the day, or at least it should be. But I think what's going to happen over the in coming years is that there will be different AIs actually that will kind of play against each other like we humans do now. So I think there's going to be like a hybrid times now where it's partly AI and partly human, but over time, it's gonna change into this AI game, I believe, and it will be multiple AIs. It'll be, for example, market mentor AI, but there's gonna be, 10 more AIs that will compete against each other. So, and who knows? Maybe there will be some sentience at the end of the day, and if that happens, maybe markets will dissolve. And but I'm really leaping too much into the future here, and I'm absolutely in no charge to predict what's gonna happen with that. But I think in the near future we will see the rise of AI tools like that will actually compete in the markets against each other instead of people competing. Because nowadays it's also about psychology, right? When you've got, for example, today there was the jobless claims and the CPI, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the psychology, and even though there's algorithms behind this, there's still, as I said before, people who are saying, huge hedge funds and so on, go for it, sell or buy. But and those people are competing basically against each other. And I believe that it's going to switch into this landscape where it's going to be AIs competing against each other. So it's going to be much faster, but it's still going to be a competition, I believe.
So I guess on that note, then, do you think the next Warren Buffett is an algorithm or someone who runs a great AI model? Or because I think that's interesting when we think about the greatest investors, right? They're the Warren Buffetts
Hmm.
or who's a great trader. Let's say someone like Ray Dalio or Paul Tudor Jones are these great traders.
Yeah.
Do you think the next one might just be someone who runs like the greatest AI trading algorithm? Is that something we see in the future? You think? The
It's I'm really I'm really cautious about how to answer this
Yeah.
because I've been using the tool or building in for the past half a year, and I see the results, and it's by no means perfect. You can, if you follow up every single trade it tells you, you're gonna probably end up at zero sum game. It's not gonna be. Let me put it straight. I tried to let it run automatically just for a week. What's it gonna do, and it actually ended like 5% minus. So it's by no means perfect now, but it's improving every day. Larger hardwares are coming up. There is new breakthroughs in different fields of computer technologies. It's going to be maybe even quantum computing, which could be specifically trained for this use case. So I think it definitely AI is going to change the game a lot, and who knows, like I really don't want to push it too hard because
Yeah, yeah.
right now as I see it, it's a good tool, but by no means it's perfect. It's I think, at least a year or two from being really good at this game. Like, but it will actually get there. I think it's gonna be like, 95% successful eventually. And and by the way, right now the statistics on this, when you trade with the AI and do this kind of your precautions, and don't really listen to everything she says, the AI, you get to 80% of successfulness with the decisions she's telling you. So it's already pretty good, but if you let it loose, it kind of goes a little bit down, and it's not a perfect game.
I think what's one interesting thing, as it's still the early days, is in some of these tools like Market Mentor, is you could use it as a almost as like a personal assistant who you can bounce questions off of, or
Exactly.
just to fact check your thoughts. Maybe you think now is a great time to buy because of a support or resistance line, so you go ahead and you're like, okay, rather than calling my friend up because maybe they're at work or busy, I'll just hop on, use AI, ask it what it thinks, and maybe, just maybe, AI does use its the way it's been trained. You're already training your
Hmm.
algorithms in AI, and it responds in a way that maybe saves you. It points something out that you missed. I
Exactly.
feel like that's
Exactly.
one
Yes.
interesting use case that it seems like it's too early to where the next Warren Buffett will be an AI trading machine, but it
Yeah.
seems like
Yeah.
it's an interesting starting point of maybe you can just use it as a helpful friend who's always online, basically.
And you're exactly explaining it, how it actually started. This was the first thought that we were putting out there. Like, when we showed it to the public, we were not saying it's a signal tool or anything. We were telling it's actually your trading partner, exactly like you described it. And I still feel it is. But then when people started coming into the platform and started using it, there was this emerging kind of demand for kind of make it more, you know, could the AI also give me an idea of where I should trade? I was like, yes, but it's by no means perfect. So this thing, that we have on the screen right now, like the signals that are coming in, it's still something that's gonna be trained a lot, and it's gonna get better over time. But as you've said, it's more of a partner that you can talk to 24/7. It's never in a bad mood. It's never tired.
It's never in a bad
It
mood. You're
always
right. It's
yeah,
always
it always has
it's always ready to answer
exact
your questions.
yeah, yeah. It
That's a great
always has
point.
the real-time data. It's never late. So it's like a perfect buddy for trading. So I think that should be the main case how people should use it now. But of course, as I told you before, there's people in the system already making money on it because they're trading and they're trading good. Today in the stream I had, there was this guy, he posted last messages like, today I'm up 6.2% in one day by using the AI. I'm like, that's crazy good. 6% in a day.
That's remarkable. Yeah, yeah,
Man.
totally.
And
Well,
he's like, thank you.
you know what I was just thinking about too in that regard that I think is interesting is how do you know an AI trading tool or product is the real deal? Because I was just actually thinking, what
Hmm.
is it? Isn't it? It might be possible. This is always a problem in markets, right? It's always a challenge. Like how do
True,
you how do
true,
you how
true.
do you get the best stuff to the top and maybe the lower stuff that just might have great
Yes,
marketing but
yes.
somehow is in the public lexicon back to the bottom. How do you know that in AI product and trading you think is like properly trained? Do you think there's a way you could like is like just I guess evaluate its responses or the way it helped? Like, what's your thinking there?
Yes, yes, yes. So there were several layers how we did that. So one of the things I actually created was an evaluation system, basically. So the AI was producing ideas, and it was really hard to program this because every single response is different. It's not like machine, like ones and zeros. The large language models, they give you sentences, like, right. So I created this system that allowed me to tap into the responses, and then it was trying to look up the entry points and take profits, and it was just following if it's gonna achieve this take profit or not. So that was one of a kind of evaluation that we did, and this is where we get the 80% of the trend prediction, basically. So we set up like a small take profit, like 20 to 50 points, and if it achieved that, we confirmed it's a trend direction, and that's good for us. And the AI kind of got a cookie for that, And the other evaluation is myself and humans. So I've got, we have a really nice lady in the team who's been just testing it, talking to it and just trying to kind of see if the response is really good. So she tried to ask, for example, if the market is now in downtrend or uptrend, and if it gave her a complete nonsense, which happens sometimes, she was like, guys, here's a screenshot, here's data, and I had to dig up into it and just kind of try to understand what went wrong, and then retrain the model, and then try again, and that's been a really, really, hard work and hundreds of hours, just poured into it. And my family hates me for that, especially my wife, late nights and shifts. Yeah.
So the key there is really for people who are out there and maybe they get targeted with AI products, etc. It's make sure that you know how much testing has gone into it, right? Is that kind of
Yes.
the yeah? Gotcha. Yeah, the
Yes. Yes.
testing will sort of validate if it's of a high standard, I guess would be the way to phrase it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it
Gotcha.
still does produce, sometimes it's called hallucination, basically. So the AI sometimes hallucinates, it
Wow.
kind of makes its own idea. And because sometimes what happens, for example, and it's also recorded on the streams, it tells you to go long, for example, and it gives you take profit below the entry price, which is nonsense, right? And it's like, it's telling you like, yeah, this is the way, it feels like confident, but it's just nonsense. So sometimes that happens, but it will get better over time, and this will dissolve eventually.
I
And
have.
you were also asking
Oh yeah.
about the technical side and fundamentals and so on. And so, yeah, the AI is mostly based on technical data, but it also has news into it. So we've got some outlets that we are getting the news from. So if you click on the mode economic news, you can then go ahead and ask, for example, what are the news for today? And it actually not only checks the news, but it also understands which asset you're looking at, for example, Tesla here, and it tries to find the similarities in there. And if there is something connected, it's going to let you know. So as you can see, it's going to spit out that there's going to be, or was, core CPI for today, released, at 3 p.m. something, 3:30 p.m., and so on. So it's not just technical data; it also understands fundamentals. And next step's gonna be, Facebook, Twitter, and all the data people put out there. But it's gonna be insane.
That okay, so that's interesting, and I have a comment on that. Actually, I didn't expect us to go that
Go
direction.
ahead.
In the chat is I've read some interesting analysis where some people, especially about OpenAI and ChatGPT, they've
Mm,
said that basically, if you really look into OpenAI and maybe some of its training sources, Reddit potentially was like a big. I'm just this is what I've heard. I'm not saying true or not, but Reddit was potentially a very big training source that
yes, yes.
we actually, as contributors to the social web, are
Uh huh.
actually now training the modern AI platforms.
It's
Have you heard
happening.
that,
It's
and how do you
happening.
think about that?
Yeah. Well, it's I'm positive about AI in general. So I do believe it's gonna be to good service to humanity. But there's also the danger to it. There's the other side of it, the dark side, and there is some news popping recently that in the dark web, for example, people are starting to build their own rogue AIs basically, and so of course we got to be cautious about that. But I think you know. It can elevate the humanity in a really good way. I think it can actually shorten the period, that we would be otherwise taking to develop and scientifically explore certain area. So I think, and I hope actually, it's gonna be for the greater good. But uh, yeah, it's hard sometimes when you go to Reddit, for example, and you see what people are producing there. You're like, oh my God, is this really the stuff we want to put into the AI? So I see your point, and
Yeah, I find that so
um,
interesting.
yeah, it is, it
I think
is
people forget. It's just a comment for us that we have all collectively helped train what is modern AI just by
true,
being
true,
active on
true.
social media,
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's
And
kind of
imagine when it gets to a point when it can consume video and it's gonna
wow.
tap into YouTube, and just catch the video in like now you got to spend, even if you play a YouTube video 2 times faster, right? And it's a 30-minute long video, it's gonna take you 15 minutes still. If the AI is capable to crunch this video in like 5 seconds, and then imagine going loose on whole YouTube, it's gonna learn so many things we can't even comprehend, I believe. So there is definitely it's let me put it this way, AI is going to be a big thing, and I do believe it's going to be even bigger than the dot-com bubble that was in the early 2000s, because the revolution is it's already happening. And you could see it in the market mentor AI I'm building the tool. It's already happening in this segment and different areas as well. So I just hope it's not going to turn rogue on us and enslave us in the end of the
So
day.
let me ask. I have two questions on that that are I think are so fun to talk about, because one's about like investments, because when you said that
Mhm.
AI might be bigger than the .com bubble, we got to chat about that. But before we get to that, I have to talk about this rogue AI element that you mentioned, and I'm
Yes,
kind of
yes.
familiar with it because I've seen some tweets about it or read some posts. But what I mean, and this takes us a bit off topic, but we have to do it. What does like a rogue AI
Go
look
for it.
like? It's what is it? Just like creating fake social accounts? It's like like what exactly is
So
it doing exactly?
right now, what's already happening, what you can see is generating, for example, fake emails in a astonishing rate. So like before the AI, you would have some people coding, algorithms to generate like suspicious emails that would take out your password or something, or lead you into some website that would then charge you something. And it would be kind of all the same. This algorithm, it could have some randomness to it, but it would just, be most of the times like similar structure, similar sentences. And this could be easily then picked up by Google, for example, and then spam, put into spam, and we could get rid of it. But now, since the large language models are really getting good at understanding human language, you've got this rogue AI that can generate millions of emails that are fake, but each of them looks unique, And how can you now know, because each email is individually tailored to the specific like customer that you want to target? How do you know it's not spam, Like, so this is one of the examples of the rogue AI, if that answers the
It
question,
does. It does.
for example.
You're
So
right.
that's one of the things. Or you can have the deep fakes, right? They've been around for some time now, and that's also really, really dangerous. Like you can now just take some famous person, just put it out there, and unless somebody goes ahead and tells the world, yeah, I created this, it's a fake. How can you know for sure? So
You know,
there's
I have an example of that that's related to markets actually, which is great that we can tie rogue AI back to markets. I
okay,
haven't
okay,
seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. But interesting enough, I recall having this conversation many years ago when this was just a concept, especially deepfakes. But now with AI, you could. Is
uh-huh.
I've always wondered on days when, like, for example, the Federal Reserve is going to make a groundbreaking announcement on interest rates.
Yes,
If someone can cook up a deepfake in a matter of seconds because AI
yes,
generates the
yes,
video, matches the audio, and even though, let's say, Jerome Powell, he's the current Federal Reserve Chairman of the U.S., right, manages interest rates,
yes,
even
yes,
though in reality he comes out and says interest rates are unchanged, someone creates this deep fake with like perfectly matched audio, launches it at the
yes,
same
yes,
time to where Jerome Powell says like I'm raising interest rates 4% today, right? And the market,
exactly,
it
exactly,
actually
yeah.
could trick some people. I've wondered, and not that that's obviously we'd never want that to happen, but I've wondered about that. Seems like a rogue AI instance actually as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're talking about, this is big what you're talking about. This is absolutely a possibility for, like, I don't want to say like terrorist organizations, but yes, they could develop something like that. And this would lead to chaos, Imagine the markets,
Oh, the market would
they'll be just
whipsaw.
all over the place,
Exactly.
it'll be just
Yeah.
pumping, dumping. That would be really crazy. So yeah, the dangers it's out there. And I think it's actually doable now. If someone's listening who's also into AI
We hope they're
and who
not
has deep,
listening.
deep
Yeah,
knowledge
no,
of this,
no, jeez. Well, you know what?
we're not giving a recipe here, but
Yeah, no, you know what though? I do hope that we're not the only ones thinking about this. I'm sure there are people thinking about it and preparing
oh,
for it.
definitely, definitely.
One would hope. One would hope. And so
And
break.
I
Yeah.
I believe, like the Google and even Tesla, OpenAI, they are ahead of the game. Let's be honest here. They are ahead of the game. They've got tools and AIs that we haven't heard about yet. And I am pretty sure about the idea that, for example, ChatGPT 5, the fifth version, the fifth generation, basically, it's already being used somewhere in the lab. It's not like they. I just saw that they recently put out some kind of a registration for the ChatGPT 5, and but it's already out there. And I think they also have to take this precaution and train the models to be also in a defense mode, kind of, to catch those bad guys, basically. So
Mm.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. So they can see it happening because their resources are being used to
Let me
do
just
it.
close the window here. There's some
Yeah.
some some since it's like 10 p.m. here, people are getting drunk outside and just shouting out under my window.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
they're probably shouting about AI. Who knows, right? They might
Yeah,
be. They
who
want to get in
knows?
on the
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
So this is actually a great time though to segue back to the company aspect because I
Hmm.
think that when people think of AI in markets, whether it's cryptocurrencies or equities, I don't think there's really any way to play forex with AI. So I mean, unless you know something I don't, you could probably play commodities with AI because there's probably underlying right? There's underlying resources that the processors need to compute so
Yeah.
much, and maybe copper or something of that sort. But in terms of companies, we'll start there. What
Hmm.
who do you think is leading the race? I mean, there's OpenAI. I think mentioning Tesla about AI is pretty interesting
Absolutely,
because
absolutely. Tesla's gonna be big. They've just announced that they're gonna be finishing their Dojo project, which is gonna be basically a supercomputer for AI. So that's gonna be huge. And believe me, they will lead the way. The way they are also pursuing the dream of having robots as a humanoids helping us out there. I think that's really cool, and I think we should go there definitely. Because taking out this burden of humanity, of this hard labor, that would be such a great step forward in our evolution. Imagine just taking the basic human needs into such low costs that living would be basically for free, and you would be able to just enjoy most of the times. And I don't want to sound like talking about utopia here, but I think it's really important that we take a step into this direction to take the hard labor out of this. Of course, also part of the equation is how do you gonna pay the people who are into those jobs, and so they don't kind of lose their income and so on. But that's debate for, I think, different times. But Tesla's going to be big, definitely. OpenAI is doing really great. Microsoft, who is cooperating with OpenAI, is also good at the game. Google obviously is gonna play a huge role because they've got all the resources in the world. And now I think Apple. I'm actually waiting for Apple to join the game because Siri, for example, it's been kind of behind the game lately. It's still very like linear. It's just you talk to it and it kind of doesn't move along with the answers. And I'm really waiting for Apple to step into the game and release something, but there is still
By
nothing.
the way, I'm in such agreement with that. I mean, what you've shown with Market Mentor AI, the tool you're building, even just how you have your charts open, you can ask it questions. It's kind of pairing the charts with your questions. It's already, in my opinion, better than Siri, and I've thought about that too.
Thank you.
But Siri is remarkable. If you ask Siri a question, they still just take you to. They recommend Safari links to click. Right? I've been
Yeah,
waiting for them to also pick that
yeah,
up as well. So that's an interesting one. They're definitely not considered an AI player. You know what's an interesting one to
true.
discuss is Meta, Facebook.
Meta, yeah,
They have
yeah, as well.
all the content,
Mm,
right? Their servers
true,
are filled with all of our pictures, posts.
true,
I mean,
true.
they're gonna.
But
What do you think? What's your view on that? Is that enough data to build some amazing tools, or?
to me, Meta seems like they've got full hands of their own. I don't want to say problems, but maybe a little bit, because look at the Meta world, right? They've been building and
Mm,
pouring so much money into it, and it actually flopped, or at least for now. Now they move to Threads, right? The new basically the new. We don't even have it here in the European Union because of the laws here, and it's already losing its customer base, as at least from what I've read in the news lately. So I think Meta is like did it to me. It seems now that they're kind of trying to find themselves a little bit, and I wonder why they don't do the AI stuff as well. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but there's nothing of AI from Meta that is like publicly interesting right now. Or is there anything? Maybe correct me. Maybe I'm missing on something, but I don't think so.
The only thing I could see for them that makes the equity interesting in this AI bull market is because they are ingest because they have collected so much updates, posts, images,
Which is
videos.
scary in a way,
Oh my
right?
gosh, they're I don't
Yeah.
I've heard of the server farms they build, and I've heard of the warehouses
Yes.
they have to store it all. But to me,
Yeah.
it
It's
strikes me as a gold mine for training an AI model because you just have
true. True.
billions of unique people sharing these things. I mean, they could make the ultimate
Maybe it's
person.
happening behind the curtains, and we just don't know about it.
Oh,
Could be.
I'm sure that they're building some sort of or they're training a model, I should say, based off of all the information that they do have. Which, hey, that's
Yeah.
that's kind of how it goes. It's in their terms of service. So
Wh- what do you think? What do you think about this idea? So imagine if Facebook/Meta would build this absolutely amazing service that would be your buddy, something like Market Mentor, but not in financial world, but in like normal life, basically. So you would have this avatar, so to speak, and you would then be able to configure it to your own needs. Or you wouldn't even have to do it. It would actually learn from the data you're posting on Facebook and so on, and Instagram and stuff. And then you would have this partner available 24/7 on your phone, and you would just be able to take your phone and call him or her and be like, hey, what you doing? And then he would be like, yeah, not much, sitting in my virtual apartment. And you'll be like, yeah, is it nice? And he's like, yeah, yeah, it's really nice. I think they should be building something like that because
it would tie into their whole concept
yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah, I
metaverse.
think so.
You could basically,
But
yeah,
this is also scary. I think it
very,
would disconnect a lot of people
yeah,
from
yeah.
the reality. And it's we're talking about
It'd be a,
amazing times in a way, but also scary times, right?
Yeah, it'd be as if a version of yourself, based off of all the data they've
Yes,
taken, lives in the
yes,
metaverse.
exactly,
Yeah,
yes.
jeez,
But
yeah.
also,
Oh
if you
my
take a
gosh.
step forward into this idea, if you can stay with this for a second, uh, you know, it's a hard topic, but let's talk about it. When somebody in your family, for example, passes away, right? It's a really sad time. And now the moral question kind of arrives. If you could upload this person into this meta world and keep them forever around, would you do it?
I
I i don't know, man. I
I have to say I have seen some startups trying to pitch that actually and
really.
raise money on that, which is you can upload these memories into their
Hmm.
AI database and they'll recreate they won't be living and breathing, but the responses will
Mimic, yes.
exactly will mimic based off of maybe all the emails you uploaded or something of that sort. So I've seen some people talk about it. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of that because it kind of
Me neither. Yeah.
creeps me out. But
Yeah.
hey, if there's a market for it, I'm sure someone will
But on
build
the
it.
other hand, I can imagine, like an old lady, for example, like some grandma, and she's alone, and her husband, which whom she's been for her whole life, passes away. I think this could be a good relief on
Mm.
in certain way. But man, it's really it's actually buzzing my mind. Like, how would it feel? Because you would know it's not real. It doesn't have emotions, although it would tell you it does. Man,
Well, I would
we're
say,
talking about this. Are we living in a simulation?
well,
What
I'll
else?
say this to all of our viewers is if you enjoy these types of conversations, you can hang out with Philip on TradingView live streams, and he'll walk you through all of this, and he's trading at the same time using AI.
True,
So
true.
I do want to take a second to point that out because how many views have you said your streams rack up now? Over 30,000.
Yeah, I just checked that before we started the podcast, and I'm at 30,000. Yeah. So it's been only 2 months, so
It's
it's
awesome.
really something.
It's really
Yeah,
cool.
it's amazing. Yeah, I am really surprised, and it's just, what really makes me happy, and what really puts me into sleep with a good, thought before I go to dreamland, basically, is when people write me message that they use the AI and it helped them to avoid bad scenarios or generate profits while keeping with the strategy they have. That's just amazing, because seeing people out there using the tool for making their lives basically better, that's amazing. That's what I love about it the most right now.
And I can see why that. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's kind of validation, which is great. And let me ask you this
Yeah.
before we move on too far from some of the ideas in the AI space. There's Tesla, which is interesting because they have all that driving data. It's pretty.
Hmm.
That's pretty unique when you can. And I think you were mentioning the,
Absolutely.
yeah, what else they could do with that type of data, or the fact that they're great at building machines. Like, well, what else could you now build with those with that process and data? How about commodities? Do you ever think? Because one thing I have
Mm.
only just been catching on to, especially with LK99. Did you follow some of the
I
LK99
did.
stuff?
Yeah, I
Exactly.
do follow up. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So with
Yes.
LK99, for those who don't know, is this big debate about if a superconductor was created. It looks like it's not true. Some people still say
Given
it's
room,
possible.
room, room temperature and room pressure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Is I was wondering, how does AI change the demand for commodities? Do you know anything about that
Mm.
or pay attention to it? Like, let's say the chips you need is will it you think it'll put a strain on copper? Because I think all chips use copper, for example.
Exactly. So
Is there any thought process there?
Nvidia is actually, I'm gonna put it on the screen here. So Nvidia is leading the way in the chips, right? If you take a look at the graph, let's put something a little bit bigger here, 4 hours, let's say. Look at it go. For the past, just for the past year. Starting here is January, somewhere here. The dip here is January,
Wow. Yeah.
and if you take a look at this, so we are now sitting at 190% up just in half a year. So the demand is absolutely enormous, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be the same for other companies who are building this. So one of the things is, yes, it's definitely demanding now for the chips and so on. But I wonder also what are be the other technologies that will arrive to kind of make this better. Because, for example, this LK99, if that would be real, that would also step up the game like 10x, because now you're not losing energy because of heat. Now, the processing power is multiplied because it has zero friction. It's so, I do think about that, but I also think like this is not the end. Like now we are seeing some recession in the Nvidia stock here, but I think it's just some kind of a temporary correction here, and it will go. Remember after summer, people will go back to the offices and so on, and
Mm.
it's gonna just take off again. I do believe that. So the demand is high, yeah, and it's tied to it absolutely.
And actually, it's an interesting comment about going back to work as well, because I guess if you consider, well, I guess AI really hit the mainstream only in the last few months, so we haven't really seen
Hmm.
AI in the winter yet. And I do wonder if more
True.
businesses will start to utilize it. And one thing I've been thinking about is, and you were talking about the labor aspect earlier, is
Hmm. Hmm.
how many jobs are out there, not even physical labor, like just normal. Let's say you have a process of doing file, you run some basic filing process for a company, not that
Hmm.
complicated. They just have never really thought to install more automation, and now there's AI. You could probably build automation quickly. I wonder how many jobs are out there where AI could potentially do it quicker, and what that might do to some of these companies, and not to speak like just a core capitalist, but what it might do to their profit margins or anything of the sort. It's I wonder if you've
And
thought
it's
about that at all.
absolutely, it's funny. It's actually, I think programmers like myself are actually the first in the line, because now, for example, ChatGPT is really good at coding. You've got Copilot from Microsoft, who's building, they own GitHub now, which is like a um, repository for code, basically. So you've got those tools that are really good at coding right now. And so we are kind of first in the line to kind of take the hit. But also on the other hand, if you really start using this tool in advantage, if you not get scared, and you say to yourself, okay, listen, I will learn how to use this tool, and I will put it in my arsenal to make better programmer out of myself, you can 10x your productivity.
Wow.
And let me tell you, this is funny. Market Mentor AI is actually built with AI already. The codes I've been doing were consulted with AI already, because it saved me a lot of time. There's little tasks that you would have to code for hours, basically. Now you can just run them in the AI, and it will most of the times give you really good results. Then you will then just tweak them to your personal needs and just put it out there. So it actually, what for programmers, I think what it means, it's not going to replace us. It's going to boost us, in the right direction, if we are keen to use this tool in our at our disposal, basically. Other jobs, I don't know, like accounting. I think accounting will be having a hard time, because it's like the AI can really take care of that, I do believe already. So, but I'm also thinking a lot about if you ever heard about the term UBI, the Universal Basic
Basic
Income.
income. Yeah, of course. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
because
that's just really quick for the listeners. That's essentially if there ever becomes a point where AI can make it so that all this labor isn't even necessary because it can be running on a automated processor, an intelligent machine.
right, right.
Right, people won't be working to earn income, so they have to have some sort of supplementary income, and that's where UBI step comes in. Right? Isn't that the way to think about UBI? So
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but it would be nice, right? Because you would just then probably just enjoy life. But yeah, so it's really difficult to predict, though, because the landscape of also the demand, what people really want, is changing. Because now with AI, you can produce things that were not before possible, right? So, for example, you have this, I don't know, as we were talking about talking avatars and so on. Now you've got things that were not possible a year ago. So, although there is gonna be jobs that will probably dissolve, like we had, many centuries ago, or not many, but like 2 centuries ago, there were people who were basically walking around streets lighting up the lamps, right, with this little like a lighter.
right.
They're gone now.
Yep.
Same is going to happen to some jobs as well here, but I think there will be other jobs that will be created because of the AI. And but it's really difficult to talk about this and to give some exact predictions, because you can see it how fast it's evolving. It's been only like half a year since those AI machines and AI models are out here, and it's already changing the game in such a rapid pace that it is unbelievable. So
There are
hard
two
to say, really.
there are two things I want to add to what you said. The first one that I forgot to comment on, I really liked how you did say about programmers can use it to 10x their progress. And as a trader and investor myself, I'm actually starting to think. The more we talk, excellent. This is exactly why this conversation had to happen. I'm actually starting to say, I should try to 10x my trading and investing. Like I should go start asking some questions and see how AI responds, if it agrees,
True,
disagrees, if there's a way I
true.
can
Yeah,
utilize it.
yeah,
And I think there's a lot of
yeah.
professions where that is just a fact. Like go try to 10x your process with this amazing tool that at no other point in humanity has really existed. And then the other thing I wanted to comment on was when you were talking about the people who would light the lampposts, for example, and that was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
job. I have to remind myself. There's this great statistic that I think like 60 years ago, the most popular job was a farmer. But then because of the advancements in tech and in farming and the
industry.
in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
industry exactly, now it's shrunk because so much of it has been sort of automated out or
Automated. Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I always see that as sort of a kind of an inspiring anecdote for new technologies. Of that's right,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
actually might just free up more time so we can pursue better things.
But I think also, as you mentioned, the farmers, I don't think they are doing worse now, right? Because,
No,
you
no, no, I
know,
don't think so.
it's actually better, because they have more time, or it's actually more efficient, right? So, and I hope this is going to happen with the AI. It will actually make us more efficient in certain areas and aspects. So, and as you were talking about the trading and stuff, one of the goals that's in the pipeline now for the development of Market Mentor AI is it will actually get accustomed to your style. So one of the goals, by the end of the year, what I would like to put out here is that you've got your profile, you sign up, you have your profile, and it will kind of start to understand what's your questions, how do you trade, and that it will actually develop this kind of understanding what you want to do with it. And I think this is also going to be really nice to see then different people having actual different outcomes of the AI because of different trading styles. And this is all possible now because of how the AI works and how it's done. And it's kind of crazy if you think about it, right? That's the really personal coach slash trading buddy at your disposal at all times. So yeah, 10xing jobs and productivity is a thing now. It's just kind of finding the way how to use it properly, and it helps a lot.
It's equally interesting to think if so. The way I see markets is you have your technical analysis and you have
Hmm.
your fundamental analysis. And I'm always a proponent of knowing both because I think there's great. I think there's a lot of
Yes.
potential to use like technical analysis to balance your probabilities or to plan or to see the trade on the chart. But then fundamental kind of tells you is it worth it or not, right? I love that kind
Yes.
of balance.
And this is exactly what happened today when the news were released, right? This is exactly what you're talking about. Like, you cannot really rely on the technical stuff here because you're not gonna know what's gonna happen when the
Right.
news are released. Yeah.
I wonder if there if at a certain point if some of these AI trading tools or investing tools get so good if that does become a another if that becomes another form of analysis. I mean, you could probably
Mm.
already put it in the quant bucket potentially, which I feel like was already rising to begin with. But
Yes.
curious what you think about that. If it's sort of a if people should approach these tools for their trading and investing as a new form of analysis, or more of
Absolutely.
or yeah,
Absolutely.
gotcha.
Absolutely. It's a new landscape because the AI sees things that when I first launched this, I was surprised how many things it sees that you don't see basically, or you can see them but you don't see them at the first glance. And the AI tells you it kind of understand that when RSI is down with the MACD crossing, that it's upcoming change of trend and stuff, and you're probably just overlooking that because you're focusing on something else. So that's one of the things that it can manage so much data, and kind of process all of it that you're unable to see at first glance. And also it's faster, it's way faster. So as you were talking about the fundamental the news and stuff, it's going to be fast. So I can imagine that the AI gets to a point when it's literally like waiting for the news to be released, and the moment they are released, it already knows what to do exactly. And it's going to open this trade, close it over here, open another sell from here, take profit over here. It's going to exactly know what to do, and it's going to be fast. You would have to click it and use your phone and kind of navigate in the broker and stuff, but this AI will be just like it's going to be done. So I do believe it's gonna also be like this fast racing car in the financial markets as well.
Perfect. Philip, I think that's a really nice way to end our chat. And I want to say another reason why I'm saying that too is we crossed an hour and 5 minutes. And generally these chats have gone
Wow,
for,
really?
I know, generally these chats go
I
about
I I
45
I'm,
minutes to an
I
hour.
didn't
So
check. That's awesome.
I could
I'm
keep
I'm really
chatting for
happy that
another hour, but I want to make sure too
yeah.
that that the live stream is going well, right? I haven't checked in or looked for any comments of that sort for a bit. I want to make sure
Did we
that
do we want to like answer some comments or something? Should we
I
should
don't
we
think
like
there
go
were.
ahead
The
and
thing is, there weren't too many comments. Let's see here. There was an issue with my audio, which kind of makes me concerned. So I hope that it was okay and didn't mess up the chat at all. We did just get one comment, which was, "Would it be a good tool to add for someone learning and trying to build a system in trading?" I love that question. Actually, we
yeah,
holy
yeah,
cow, we
exactly.
didn't address that. So we actually should spend a few minutes before we go talking about that.
All right.
New traders and investors, is it good for them or too advanced?
For new traders, absolutely, because you can use it to educate yourself. There is actually a mode for it. So if you go into mode selection here, there is educational talk, and the AI can walk you through everything basically. What does it mean? What was the support resistance? What is a pip? What is a how is volume connected to open, high, low, for example? It's all there. So it's crazy good for learning, and you can then skip the Investopedia and stuff. So definitely. And the second question for investors, yeah, I think it's a good reflection, as we were talking before, like second opinion basically. So definitely a good tool for that.
Perfect. Well, for the new traders and investors who are watching, I think that's a perfect way for you to head off now into not only learning markets, which are very difficult, take tons of time to master. Um, even 1 year isn't really enough because the markets will throw a curveball at you all the time. Say that AI can definitely be a good learning tool in that regard, especially for definitions. That was actually pretty cool to see that. I also think
Yeah,
going back
yeah,
to our
yeah.
earlier comments too of running ideas by it, I think is very interesting. Hey,
True, true, true.
what do you think of this? I don't know. What do you think of this chart? As simple as that, and see if it aligns with your analysis or gives you an opinion that's totally different. Because you were saying earlier, Philip,
True,
that I
true.
liked is it does take in so much data
Yes,
so fast. The human mind can't do that.
exactly. And it can just, pick the right numbers and just, connect them for you together and just make the right answer basically based on that. And yeah, and there was also the question, I think, from the comment, if it's gonna probably trade for you. I think that's also where it was headed a little bit, the comment. And that's complicating. Legally, it's complicated because if the AI is taking the shot for you, who's responsible, right? So there's this kind of a moral question as well. And I wouldn't go there yet. I think it's still time for the AI to trade on its own, but it's probably gonna happen. I think it's just a matter of time, and then we will see some crazy. There is this fund on Twitter. I think it's called Crypto GPT. No, something like, I don't know if you heard about it. And there's some guys from San Francisco who are running AI for trading crypto, and they basically claim that it's like 17% up just by trading by itself since the beginning of the year. So, and if that's true, and if it really runs on its own, that's really interesting. But it's behind closed doors, so we can't really say for sure if that's true. So, or at least to my knowledge, I honestly didn't dig too deep into this, so I don't want to spread any misinformation. Hopefully, I didn't say anything
No, no, it's
that's
it's
not true.
it's interesting in the sense of right. If well, I mean, I could see someone testing that absolutely, but going back to like I just think about if I gave my money to an AI trading bot for quick automated trading.
Exactly.
Whew, I mean, it
Exactly.
sounds
Yeah.
cool, it sounds interesting, but it also
You could
sounds
try like, I
like
don't know, $100, just for the
yeah.
fun, basically.
But I
But
see my
you
question
know,
would be is what if the model spins out of control and I just wake up
exactly,
one day and
exactly,
it's gone and
exactly.
it's gone.
Yeah, yeah. But think about it also the other way. You could wake up one day and it would be like 100x, and it would be like, is it a dream or what's happening? So yeah, but I tried it. I tried it with this model that we've built, and it's not possible yet. Or at least, honestly, I'm gonna be super honest here. There is, I don't think there is no need to hide anything because it's a progress, and I take it as a progress in this human evolution and how we build those things. And it wasn't possible. I let it run for a week. Maybe if I let it run for a longer time, and maybe with this new, trained models that we have now, it would be better. But what I tried back in May, it wasn't successful. It was like 5% down over the week. And yeah, so but you'll see, maybe there's gonna be next year not me in the streams, but just the AI, and it's gonna be entertaining the people as well, and it will be trading with such a successful rate that everyone will be amazed. Who knows?
Quick
It's really
quick question
interesting.
about your
Yeah.
test. Did you have it so it was connected to an account or
Yes,
did you have to
yes,
mirror
yes.
every
I
trade?
actually put real money in it. I
Oh,
took,
and you just let
I
it
believe
run?
I took,
Was it
yeah,
24
I
hours a
took
day?
like, yeah, I took, I believe. $1,000 because I was like, let's put my, I don't want to be rude here, like put my ass into it. Like I want to really see it for real, put my skin in the game.
Yeah.
and and yeah, I let it sit. It was actually good in the beginning. The curve was actually gaining some momentum. I was like, wow, it's probably gonna work. And then I just forget about it. And then on Friday I check it out, and the graph goes like the equity goes something like, and then ending down. So it wasn't always bad. It took some good trades, but I, I didn't pay too much attention to it yet because Market Mentor is consuming a lot of time to build this service basically. So I will definitely get back to it, but I want to, complete this service and, have happy people in it.
Totally. Yep.
And yeah, and who knows, if someone's listening, who's interested into this, and, get in touch. Who knows, maybe there could be some potential smart minds out there who's get better ideas into this, and you never know.
Exactly. In fact, I need to. Okay, wait, that's the wrong. I need to put your TradingView username into the chat
Yes.
so people know to follow you. And by the way, one more quick question about you doing the automated trading that I was curious about. Did you just pick one symbol, or were you doing a basket of symbols? Or curious to hear what you think, where you were with that.
Let me just, I just put there hi there also.
Oh, perfect.
Nice. Sorry, the question was about the assets. It was
Yeah, we
about.
didn't get a chance to talk about the automated trading, but hey, this is early on in the TradingView live stream, so we can always schedule another chat. But just quickly, did you just pick one asset to trade, one symbol? Like, hey, I just want to auto trade Bitcoin, or were you scanning a basket of opportunities? What
Yeah,
was
yeah, that's a good question. And now you talk about it, I'm thinking like maybe that was one of the mistakes. I just put it on euro dollar, just basically I let it sit here basically, and that was it. And how it actually worked is it actually run on the server like you see it right now. And that was basically the same question all over again. Create a trading plan for me basically. And when it spit out the answer, another algorithm was looking at the numbers, and if there was a a scheme for trading, it actually took this data into MetaTrader and created the real trade with the stop losses and take for it. There's also probably some errors, maybe due to the transfer of the information as well. Honestly, I saw it on Friday. It was in minus. I was like, we will leave this for
Yeah,
another time,
you'll
maybe,
come back to it.
next year. Yeah. So honestly, I didn't pay that much attention to it because, as we talked before, this tool is like a partner to talk to. It's not a software to basically solve your trading game, right? So I don't think it's necessary the way I want to go. I really want to create a service for people to elevate their trading game and get better, but it's not definitely by no means a trading machine. So yeah, I think that covers it.
Perfect. Well, Philip, I think that's good. Hour 15. Maybe not a full record on the show, but close to it. I think one show
That's
got like a
awesome. That's awesome.
120.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
It
of
was it was really
course.
it was really fun, and I hope we will get this again maybe in half a year, for example, and we will see where it is.
And when we syndicate this show, for those who stick around to the end, if they listen to it with their earbuds in, or watch the whole thing, or listen to it in their car ride or commute, be sure to follow Market Mentor _AI and check out Philip's live streams. He's often featured on the TradingView front page. I think they're great. You can watch him, hang out with him. He's trading. He's talking to the AI bot that he built, or the AI system that he built, and it's definitely an enjoyable watch, and you'll learn something new about this emerging tech. So thank you to all of our viewers. Thank you to Philip, and we'll see everyone on the next show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It was a blast. So awesome.
Perfect. Okay, we'll see ya.
Okay.